But it does seem to me personally that a ceasefire has to be the first step. That is something that people have been calling for all over the world, but it's something that world leaders have been reluctant to say. Just watch Justin Trudeau almost say it and then correct himself.
We need to see a we need to see a humanitarian pause so we can flow. We need to see ceasing of the levels of violence that we're seeing.
Wow! He stopped himself mid-word there. He literally ordered a ceasefire on the word ceasefire. My only regret that he didn't just keep that word salad or word poutine going. We need a ceasing of the violence, a stopping of the explosion, sort of a halting of the booms, if you will. A halter-boom would be great right now. And it's not just Trudeau. Joe Biden has said there is no possibility of a ceasefire, which is a hell of a thing to hear from perhaps the only world leader whose pressure could actually make one possible. Continuing down this path only creates more extremists, which is the last thing that anybody needs. And I don't want to say anything that denies the pain of those in Israel who have lost loved ones to a truly barbarous act or who are waiting anxiously for the return of hostages. Although you should know, some hostages' families are also utterly furious at the military tactics that Netanyahu's employing right now.
We have to engage in negotiations. We have to do it now. They say that the only solution is to flatten Gaza. They never mentioned the hostages, never.
Right, and you can see how infuriating that would be. And it has to be possible to feel the pain in one community without denying it in another. It has to be. That is perhaps the most necessary precondition for peace, because real peace here will clearly be difficult. It's going to be struggled toward as part of a larger pursuit of justice, which will in turn require an honest and uncomfortable reckoning with all the decisions that brought us to this point. And I know that hope is scarce right now, but I did see something this week which gave me a seed of hope. It involved this Israeli man, Rami El-Hanan, who lost his 14-year-old daughter to a Hamas suicide bombing 26 years ago. He actually co-directs a group called the Parent Circle with that Palestinian man that I showed you earlier, where parents who've lost children to this conflict get together to work toward peace. El-Hanan was asked if recent events had changed his worldview at all, and his response is worth listening to.
You know, we are in a circle of blood for the last 75 years, and this is just another round. Nobody expected the viciousness and the cruelty of this round, but it was expected. You cannot put 2 million people in a box, close the cover, and expect nothing will happen. It will not stop unless we talk. You cannot annihilate Hamas. You cannot ignore 6 million people, Palestinians, living here in the Holy Land. And you cannot expect them to go away. They will not go away. We will not go away. We are doomed to live here together, and we have to choose whether to share this land or to share the graveyard under it.
Exactly. And it is inspiring that despite what that man went through, he's still committed to achieving peace through talking. And it shows that any conversation around this has to begin with empathy, or we're just fucked. And obviously, we don't know how all this ends, but there are a few things that we do know. We know that dehumanizing people leads to violence. We know that violence leads to even more brutality and destruction. And we know that, crucially, breaking that cycle is unfortunately going to require leadership significantly different than the ones currently in place.